Hi everybody, I hope that you're having a great week. This is week number 8 of our 52 weeks of Chasing Good Health. Today I decided to film from downstairs at our first retail location at Old Vine Street in Lexington. My office is actually here upstairs. So I thought there's so many windows and it's super sunny today that I would actually do the video down here. So there's the change of scenery. Hey Brooke, thank you for watching live. If you are catching this after the live broadcast, that's totally fine. They stay archived in Facebook and inside our group so you can access them forever. So totally cool on that. If you have a question and you're watching after the fact, that's okay too, because you can ask it and we'll come back in and answer it for you. Today, the title of my video for the week number 8 practice that we're gonna do asks if you are in fight or flight, or if you are fighting or flighting. And most of us, the answer to that question is going to be a resounding yes. I can tell you for me, that is absolutely true. Often I'm fighting or flighting during the day because I get so revved up. And what happens when we do that, our sympathetic nervous system becomes dominant and takes over in the body. And believe it or not, it's a huge impairment to digestion. It's that stress hormone that's just going and going and going. And that's really bad for digestion. All disease begins in our gut. If we have impaired digestion, if we have anything happening in our gut, we all know and we're learning that a healthy gut equals a healthy body. If we have a healthy gut system, then we are chasing good health and protecting our body from any disease that might find us. So super, super important. So today we're gonna talk about, in this week, we are going to practice not eating when we feel that our sympathetic nervous system might be in overdrive. So one of the things I want to talk about, just kind of the sympathetic nervous system, that's our fight or flight. That's designed to protect us from danger. Do you know that feeling in your gut you get when you get a sudden startle or you're watching a scary movie? It's fight or flight. It's designed to protect us, and it's a great thing for us, right? Back in the old days, it told us to run fast if something were after us, or so it's a great thing. We don't want to never have it. It protects us from danger. But our modern lifestyles have actually, we do more than ever. We kind of go harder, we play harder, we work harder than we've ever worked before. Most of us don't allow enough time for rest during the day. So what we find is that our sympathetic nervous system, instead of only kind of coming on board when we're in danger, so that we should fight or flight, we should fight or we should fly away, right? It's on all the time. And when it's on all the time, then everything in your body is sort of becoming fatigued, and especially digestion. So what we want to do is make sure that if we're not in danger, that we spend most of our time in sort of the parasympathetic state, which has been described as rest and repose, rest and digest. That's another one I hear a lot, because when we're in our parasympathetic nervous system, and that's really what's dominant, then our body can actually digest food properly. We're at peace, we're at rest, we can make better decisions, believe it or not. If you're making decisions from a sympathetic, when your sympathetic nervous system is kind of on, they may or may not be the best decision. So if you're making important decisions, having your parasympathetic nervous system on board and sort of turned on is really important. So I want to talk about what happens. So those are the two aspects of our nervous system, and they're both needed and both important. So to say that you could have one without the other is not true. We just want to make sure that we don't have a sympathetic nervous system kind of overdrive where it's on all the time, especially when we are eating. And that's what we're going to focus on today. We're going to focus on not eating this week. That's our week 8 Chasing Good Health practice, while we believe that our sympathetic nervous system could be turned on or in overdrive. And so what happens when we do have kind of our sympathetic nervous system in overdrive, maybe we had too much coffee that morning, that often happens to me, or we've had super stressful meetings, or we've just got a lot of angst and anxiety, and we sit down to enjoy a meal, our body can't make saliva, you get dry mouth, and you can imagine what happens next, right? If we don't have saliva in our mouth, our digestive enzymes can't get flowing, Our body doesn't know what's coming. It's a little confused and startled when food comes in because our mouth hasn't produced the digestive enzymes that it needs. Same thing when we don't chew our food properly. So again, these are all strategies, and it seems pretty simple and pretty easy, but I can't tell you how important it is. So while simplistic, super, super important and easy for us to practice. So when we see that we are in this sympathetic nervous system dominance and we sit down to eat, we tend to eat more fat, we tend to eat quickly, right? Because we have to get to the next thing. Our body can't produce the digestive enzymes it needs because we have not enough saliva, we have dry mouth, and away we go. Next thing you know, our food entering into our GI system, can't be digested properly. And when we have sort of undigested fermenting food in our gut, then that's just a whole host of problems for us. So again, we are chasing good health. We are looking to create a vessel, our body, that digests food perfectly. Food goes in, digested perfectly, waste removed, and that happens in a very seamless process. We don't have any breakdowns, if that makes sense. We don't want food fermenting in our body at 98.6 degrees. That would be completely disgusting, right? So we want to create a perfect scenario for digestion. We want to chew our food super thoroughly, 20 times down to a pulp. We don't want to be eating when our sympathetic or our fight or flight nervous system is inactive and called on, where we are a little nervous, we are a little anxious, we've kind of got this go, 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 go feeling, almost a racing feeling inside of our body. That's some keys that you may be in kind of sympathetic nervous system dominance. And you can do a lot of research in this on your own. I'm giving you just sort of the big overview and sort of the big cues that you may need to take a few minutes or a time out before we eat. And again, we're talking 3 or 4 minutes. And I'm gonna give you some of the strategies that I personally do, because if you guys hadn't noticed, I'm definitely like a super high energy, high go, go, go person. I say I do more things in a day than possibly imagine, because I'm like super high energy, but that means that I can often find myself with a sympathetic nervous system dominance. So I'm very mindful before I eat food for my body to digest, that I get out of that, and that I'm at peace, and that I have a lot of rest and repose. Remember, parasympathetic nervous system, rest and repose, rest and digest. We want to be spending a good amount of our time, most of our time in that state. That way, when we do need to fight or we do need to flight, we need to run, sympathetic can kick in and we can be out of danger. Remember, sympathetic nervous system is designed to keep us out of danger. We don't need to, I'm not in danger. We're not in danger just because we're running and gunning all day. So a super important distinction for you to think about. So I'm going to talk now about a couple of strategies, and I actually have them listed here. So if you can print out week 8, if we do include the whole package every time, so all 8 weeks, and then the pre-work for Chasing Good Health, but you don't have to print that out every time. You could just choose print the last 2 pages. That's what I do. That way I just add it to my group, and I'm keeping mine together in a binder. I also do want to encourage, before we talk about the fight or flight tips and staying out of fight or flight when we're going to eat, to remind you guys to go back to your mantra, to be saying your mantra, to really go back to the letter you wrote yourself. We're going to do that next week. We're going to have a letter to ourselves review. So if you didn't have a chance to do that, please do that. It is super, super important. And again, the energy and the intention and the discipline that we put into something is exactly what we're going to get back out. You should also know that our team all together, we are all going to start posting our checklist into our Juice Virtual Mastermind group, so that you can see that our team is really doing this work along with you. We're not just telling you to, do this, but I'm really working hard on this myself, especially you guys, this one. This one is really, really important for me, because I tend to be, again, somebody who can run a little more in fight or flight more than I should. So, number 1, do not eat food when you feel that racing feeling of fight or flight. Do not eat food if you feel that you do have kind of your sympathetic nervous system on board, or you've called on it in some way, maybe by too much caffeine, too much stress, fight with your spouse, your children, you don't fight with a friend, none of that. We want to have a break period before eating so that our body can kind of calm down, get back to a place of parasympathetic dominance, or rest and repose, rest and digest. That's rule number 1. Rule number 2 is, if you find that you are in a sympathetic nervous system dominance, try 10 deep breaths, in through the nose, out through the mouth, super calm. You can count those breaths. I tend to do, if I find that I'm racing around, I'll do a really long inhale of 8 counts. I try and hold the breath at the top for 4 counts, and then a super slow exhale back down 8 counts, and then I hold my breath at the bottom for 4 counts. So it's 8-4, 8-4. You could do any number that you wanted, but you would want your inhale and your exhale to kind of be balanced, and then holds at the top or the bottom. You will be amazed at how suddenly you do have a calmness come over you. You do feel better equipped to, handle what's coming. You feel grounded. You feel not this anxiousness again. So super, super important to do. We could even go as far to say, before we begin any meal, that we take a few moments of reflection, a few deep breaths. Also, this is a little known fact of doing this work before you eat. You will actually eat less. Because when we are in a super, sympathetic nervous system dominance, hurry, we eat more food. More food than our body needs, more food than our body can digest. We might make wrong food choices. So if we could take just a few minutes to do 5, 6, 7, 8 deep breaths, heck, call it 10. It's going to take less than 3 minutes, right? I mean, I'm not asking you to add 30 minutes to your day here. I'm saying a few moments of breathing in, breathing out. You can also, if you are somebody that struggles with this and you feel that breathing and maybe taking a 10-minute walk, that's another great strategy. If you feel like sympathetic nervous system is on overdrive, take a little walk. It's actually me today. I've had one thing after the next. So before I eat my lunch today, I'm going to spend at least 30 minutes going for a walk during the middle of the day before I have lunch, or practicing yoga. It's kind of nice today, so I think I may go outside. But just giving you an example of, you will start learning, and if you turn inward, and if you are looking for this really sensation in your body that you may have a parasympathetic or a sympathetic nervous system dominance, or you've got fight or flight turned on, you'll start to notice. And when you do notice it, you're going to take deep breaths, you're going to take a quick walk, you're going to do the rhythmic breathing, the 4-8-4-8, just as I described. You could also use CBD oil. So for people that really struggle with this, you could use CBD oil. It is one of the best ways to kind of take that rest and repose, get your parasympathetic nervous system back online. And I do want, for the most part, the 52 weeks of Chasing Good Health practices that I'm going to teach you, and then we're going to practice as a group, to be free of cost. I mean, I don't know that I'll be able to go all 52 weeks without doing that, but I don't want this to be designed as something, let you buy something else, let's buy something else, let's buy something else. So I don't want this to be kind of a product pushing experience. I want this to be like super simple things that you can do that work, that you have to spend kind of $0 on. However, I can't say enough good things about CBD oil. I take it every day. Again, I'm not sort of like kind of higher energy, so I take it every day. It's kind of become part of my life. I love the one by Dr. Cabral, Equilibrium. I'm sure there are lots of great brands. This is the one that I chose when I tried around 15 of them. If you want to order some, you can go to his site, you can call us, whatever you want to do. Or you can get some locally from where you live, or you can, before you spend any money though, try the strategies of rhythmic breathing. Inhale 8, hold 4 at the top, exhale 8, hold 4 at the bottom. You can choose any number there, maybe it's 6-2, 6-2, doesn't really matter. You can decide that for yourself, but it makes a big difference. Also, when you're doing that, one other tip, when you are kind of doing the rhythmic breathing, if you don't want to do the counting, that's totally fine. Make your exhale longer than your inhale. I find that to be really helpful if you're not going to do kind of the counting, because you just may not want to do that, you may not have time for that, but I want to give you kind of a few different strategies. So if you don't have time, you don't like the counting, then just make sure that you're taking a big, nice inhale, giving yourself a moment at the top, and then make your exhale just a little bit longer. Be mindful to do that. So those are some great tips that we are going to practice this week all together. So before you are eating this week, whether that is lunch or dinner, or even if you are a breakfast eater, you are going to take a few seconds to say, am I sympathetic? Is my sympathetic nervous system dominant right now? Am I in that fight or flight? Do I feel anxious and kind of racy? Or am I at peace? Do I feel great? Do I feel relaxed? Do I feel calm? Because that's when we need to be eating food and putting food into our body and asking our body to do the call and the work of digestion. It does not need to happen if we are in, a super racing, over anxious fight or flight mode. And that's what we're going to work on this week. So on your sheet, I want you to actually document. First, of course, I think rewriting our mantra every single week is so important. Mine is every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better. I might not be perfect every day, and yes, I'm going to make some mistakes, but generally speaking, every day in every way, I am getting better and better. And that is my personal mantra for this year. It's sort of like my grounding current, if you will, that every time I go a little off track, I go back to that to make sure that I'm going to accomplish the things I want to do and that I'm living kind of the best version of me. Whatever the mantra is for you, you can write it here. I asked you to create one in our very first week of Chasing Good Health. If you haven't, don't worry, just create one now. And then we are going to, every single day before you eat food, there's a box for every day. I want you to think about and be mindful about, I'm going to take some deep breaths, I'm going to take a 5-minute walk, I'm going to make certain that before I put food into my body, that I am getting myself to a place of rest and digest, or the parasympathetic nervous system, the component of our nervous system that is designed to help us digest food easily. And I'm going to make sure that I am not asking my sympathetic nervous system, the fighting and the flighting component, to be active, because that is not a place for us to do digestive work. I hope that everybody is having a wonderful week so far. It is already week 8. We just scheduled out the next few weeks of Chasing Good Health, and there are a lot of topics that I think you're going to enjoy. The juice ritual is coming up. Remember, March 1st, I think, is on Friday. So we'll be all enjoying the juice ritual together next Thursday on March 7th. So we have a good juice lineup coming, and this is one of my favorite times of year to do this work because it's spring and it feels really amazing, I think, to do a day of digestive rest when the sun is shining and the flowers are coming up. It's sort of like a rebirth, getting ready to change seasons, which I love. On March 21st, officially the start of spring. If you have any questions about Chasing Good Health, about any of our Chasing Good Health practices from any week, you can ask us a question. Again, somebody else probably has your question. And secondly, that's what we're here for, and we're happy to help you. So feel free to make, to post your sheet. If you want to even post it in and say, hey, this is what I'm doing, and if you have a question, we are more than happy to help you. In fact, that's what I love most about this, and I'm super, super excited about 52 weeks of Chasing Good Health, because I myself am doing the practices, and at the end of this year, I will have mindfully practiced 52 ways to chase good health, and that is the way to keep disease away from us and create a most perfect vessel of our body to stay well and to continue feeling better and looking better and doing better work, right? Because we're our best version of ourselves as we get older instead of going in reverse. So everyone have a wonderful day. Thank you, Brooke, for watching live. If you have questions, again, I'll come back in and answer them, so feel free to just drop them below. Have a wonderful day.